This is a companion video to the last one where I looked at the Australian government's announcement that they intended to recognise a Palestinian state. That video was already long enough, so I decided to keep this look at the media reaction to that announcement separate. Enjoy. As soon as Prime Minister Anthony Albanese made the announcement that his government would recognise a Palestinian state, you just knew that there would be media outlets scrambling for a choice quote to condemn the PM's call, and it really didn't take long. While the good money might have been on Sky for some predictable outrage, this time out it was the Sydney Morning Herald / The Age outlets that really took the biscuits, with the Sydney Morning Herald's Matthew Knott managing to get his hands on a choice quote that would power a bunch of headlines to follow. The article, as it was first posted on the 13th of August at 12:24pm, quotes Hassan Youssef, co-founder of Hamas. In it, he's quoted as saying, "We welcome Australia's decision to recognise the state of Palestine and consider it an important step towards achieving justice for our people and securing their legitimate rights." The original article ends that quote by saying, Youssef, one of Hamas's most senior officials in the occupied West Bank, said in a statement to this masthead. For some readers, they would have found it interesting that a senior Hamas official is issuing statements to the Nine press. But the article continues to quote, and yes, I'm using air quotes here, Youssef as saying, "This position reflects political courage and a commitment to the values of justice and the right of peoples to self-determination." Praising Albo's political courage. And there's your headline. Hamas praises Albanese's courage, claims credit for Palestinian recognition. Right down the bottom of the lengthy article, there's a brief mention of Youssef having been repeatedly arrested by Israel and spending long stretches in jail without trial, but that's about all the backstory they include. The initial article caused quite a bit of discussion online, and after what appears to be either 6 hours later, if you believe these dates and times, or a day, if you believe the metadata within the page source, there were quite a few substantial alterations to the article. For what it's worth, the timing here could be interesting. If it was only modified on the 14th of August, this could mean that it was only updated after this article from the SMH and Age's sister publication, and or Albanese's press conference on the 14th of August, in which he had this to say.
And I notice in the statement that's made today, they say that the alleged statement from the person yesterday is someone who's been in prison in Israel since October 2023 and has no means of communication. What that should be is a warning to the media of being very careful about the fact that Hamas will engage in propaganda, because what is happening is the international community are united about isolating Hamas, about supporting a peaceful way forward.
Regardless of exactly when the article was altered, the first quote now contains some additional clarification. It now says, Youssef said in a statement to this masthead issued by his office in the occupied West Bank. He is currently held in an Israeli prison. Further down now, there's also reference to a statement since issued by Hamas denying that Youssef has issued any statement praising the Australian government's position. In the Hamas statement, they denied the issuance of any statement by Sheikh Hassan Youssef, detained in occupation jails since October 19, 2023, on the Australian position regarding the recognition of the Palestinian state. We affirm that Sheikh Hassan Youssef is being held in poor conditions and is cut off from the outside world with no means of communication. Mind you, the headline remains the same. But by this stage, of course, the article seems to have served its purpose, generating headlines within the usual corners of the media and eliciting responses from Israel's foreign minister, as well as Tim
"I'm an idiot"
Smith's boss, the deputy foreign minister, whilst at the same time serving up the coalition with enough ammo to go back at the government. All of this raises a lot of questions for the Nine Press and Matthew Knott. How did he come by this statement? Who issued it to him? Whacking on a tinfoil hat for a minute, who benefits from this? Did no one at the Sydney Morning Herald think it a bit strange that Israel, having imprisoned one of Hamas's most senior officials, would continue to let him run his own press office from behind bars? Remember, this came the same week that Israel targeted and killed a number of Palestinian journalists. And no one at the Sydney Morning Herald thought it was a bit odd that Israel would allow a senior Hamas official to continue to run his own office and issue statements to foreign press? Did no one think of doing any follow-up? Coincidentally, here's a story the Nine Press might consider following up on. reporting from the Israeli-Palestinian outlet 972 magazine on a legitimisation cell within the Israeli military, given the job of essentially smearing Palestinian reporters in Gaza to then justify their targeting. Anyway, if you've tuned into the National Press Club events before, you may have seen Matthew Knott pop up to ask a question now and then. Like the time he reframed statements made by the United Nations Special Rapporteur on the occupied Palestinian territories, Francesca Albanese, and she was having none of it.
If I could get a next question up from Matthew Knott from the Sydney Morning Herald and The Age.
Thank you for your address today. You've said previously that it should ultimately be up to Palestinians to decide who governs in Gaza, and that Israel should be open to making a peace deal with Hamas. Given that Hamas leaders since October 7 have said repeatedly that they would like to repeat these attacks, is that really possible? Is Hamas really a potential partner for peace, or would the defeat or surrender of Hamas be part of any realistic peace agreement in Gaza?
I'm sorry, I cannot answer the question because you are basing yourself on something that has been reported, that it has been completely distorted. Sorry, I mean, you have some media who's really as manipulative as those in Italy. And I thought that I've said something else, that the military response cannot be war, must be peace. And the peace must be done with the Palestinians. But I mean, I'm also speaking of a non-legal peace, a peace, a reconciliation with the idea that Palestinians have same humanity and same entitled to rights, freedom and dignity than the Israelis. So it was a very beautiful 35-minute conversation, and this is what the journalists got. I mean, I'm sorry, but this is not what I said. It's been completely distorted.
Or you might remember him from the clip I shared on this channel a couple of years back, when he was absolutely eviscerated by Paul Keating.
After what you co-wrote with Harcher last week in that shocking presentation in the Herald on Monday, Tuesday, and when you should hang your head in shame, I'm surprised you even have the gall to stand up in public and ask such a question, frankly. You know, you ought to do the right thing and drum yourself out of Australian journalism, you know. I mean, that's the most egregious, the worst, the most biased presentation. But the Sydney Morning Herald, frankly, has lost. It's a newspaper without integrity, and the Age follows it in. Poor little, like a little pup running behind. You know, I mean, if I were you, mate, I'd hide my face and never appear again.
For the record, Mr. Keating, we're very proud of our journalism, and we think that's made an important contribution to the national debate.
Anyway, fingers crossed that Knott's exclusive gets the Media Watch blowtorch treatment, because on the surface at least, it seems more than deserving.
Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.